Welcome back to The Truth with Trinity, and I am your host, Trinity. And if this is your first time tuning into the podcast, I'd like to send you a warm welcome. Here, I talk about issues that happen within the black community, hopefully for some resolution or at least some food for thought to go about your daily way. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce this episode's topic, which is: do black men lack accountability but demand superiority? I wanted to first start off by saying that I come with a spirit of love, and I come with a spirit of encouragement and motivation towards the black man to succeed, and with a heart to want to earnestly help our people. Now, I wanted to make a small disclaimer that this episode does not apply to every black man. Neither does any of my episodes apply to, just one group of people. And there are black men in the communities that are helping to cultivate their communities. They are taking leadership responsibility. They are taking accountability for their families, their children, their wives, and just overall the community, period. And I just want to send a special thank you to those black men, and hopefully we can get all the black men, or at least majority of them, on board, so that that would help the transitional shift between black women being out there in the forefront, being head, and black men being behind, and we can flip that around. Okay, but I want to start off with a piece of history. Okay, back through slavery, the black man was not his own. Okay, so he was not his own man, and was referred to as a boy, to degrade him. He could not feed or house himself, and the only freedom he truly had was having sex and mating with other slave women. Okay, so they made it to where the black man could not move freely about in this country. When he first came over here, he could not feed himself. He had to ask, the master. He had to ask the slave master. Not only could he not feed himself or house himself or clothe himself, but he couldn't clothe his women and children either. He couldn't clothe his wife. So he had to watch his wife go to the slave master and ask for food for both of them at times. Okay, so this is the history of what's going on. Okay, and the only freedom that he was allowed to have, so after being confined and constrained and not being considered a man and not being able to move about freely as a man, the only freedom he had was to have sex and to produce more slave children through other women. Okay, yet it was the slave owner who housed and fed both the male slave, female, and slave children. Okay, so this is just the history of what has gone on with the black man, in this country. And I know that this will be better coming from the mouth of a man. Okay, as I know most men tend to merit higher the words of another man. But what I think has really disappointed the black woman the most is that, with all due respect, so this is all due respect to the black man. Like I said, this is not another male bashing or black bashing channel, okay? But I'm going to have to be honest, is that you hear many black men talk about how Eve came from Adam's rib. So you'll hear a lot of, black men talk about that, which is true. How we came, from the rib of a black man. Okay? How men are head of a household. So you'll hear that a lot. And, the disgruntled black man, how he's saying that black women are just, they're just wanting to lead the house, not really wanting to listen to the command of a man, and having problems with male authority. And how black women lack submission. So you hear about all these things, okay? And then, when you hear about black men being head, you'll hear black men cheer. When you hear about black men, having certain rights and positions that black women or people, period, not just people, but women, period, of regardless of color, are not supposed to have, that men are supposed to be in authority, you'll hear the black men cheer about this, okay? But there is one thing that you hardly, if ever, hear our black men saying. So you hear them cheering about being the man, You hear them cheering about being head, but you hardly ever hear them saying this, though. And that is the reality that the broken condition of the black women and children falls on the black man's hands, okay? So the condition of the black woman, the condition of the children, it does falls on the hands of the black man, just as it does with any race of man. Okay, so it's not just the black man. The condition of the women fall on the condition of that race of man. Okay, and a lot of brothers will say, well, the black man was trained by white men to be careless and irresponsible. That is true, and that was true, back in slavery when the black man had no control over his life. But since the black man now has this information and has been well informed, what is he going to do about it now? Is he going to continue to use that excuse as to the reason why he continues on in 2021, not taking the responsibility for his environment that surrounds him? Let me continue. But my question is, at once this was true, but when is the black man going to get up and take back what is his, starting with his own women and children? How can the black man call himself a man if he continues to place his responsibility and the rationale for his actions solely upon another race of man? Furthermore, how is the black woman supposed to respect or submit to a man who thinks to hold no accountability? And I think that is a crux. That's like the elephant in the room. I think, you have some black women that just, they're burnt out. They don't, they don't want to uh, be submissive, or they don't want to acknowledge black males' authority. But then you have another, a large percentage of black women that are looking forward to, giving the black man his rights, as far as being, the authority in our communities. But it's hard to do that to a man, and it's hard to respect a man that every time you ask him certain things, that he places it on another, race of man, and he doesn't want to assume any accountability. That's a hard one for the black woman. And then some brothers will argue that many black women are too masculine, but only because the black woman is waiting for the black man to take the reins, to take charge. And how can this be done? Number one, if black men want black women to love them and respect them, the black man must stop leaving black women with their children, because it causes black women to have hatred towards the offspring, which in many cases the black male to grow up in an environment where black men are hated, and cause more black men to grow up and abuse black women. It also causes black girls to grow up hating and mistrusting black men. Number two, black men must start learning how to think generational wise about how his actions will affect the next black man and his fellow man. Like, for example, if I use this woman completely up, I might leave and not have to deal with her PTSD or mental illness, but the next black man will. And yes, this world seeks to depress and suppress you, black man. This I know. But the black man must strengthen himself, because as the world seeks to destroy you, you destroy the black woman. How long will the black man sit and talk about the torn down condition of his woman and kids without realizing that it is a direct reflection of his leadership? So I want to stop right here. You hear all these black males on these channels, they're talking about black women. Oh, this black woman is looking crazy. Oh, this black woman's acting wild. Oh, this black woman's running around sleeping with so many men and having children by men she doesn't know. And they're doing this, and it seems like they're talking about another man's woman, another race of man's woman, but they're talking about their own women. And I don't know how much longer the black man can go on like this without realizing that the world is laughing at us as black people, both black men and women, but he's definitely the world is definitely laughing at the black man, because any other race of man knows that the condition of the women and children and the environment that they're around, how they live, how they eat, this is predicated upon the condition and treatment from that man. So for black men to continue to talk about the condition of black women, to talk about their children failing and things of that nature, it's a direct reflection of their failure to be able to stand up and control, and not so much control the environment, and cultivate. Maybe that's a better word, to cultivate an environment that will be beneficial to himself and the children and women that surround him, even if it's not your mate. Just the women and children, period, in that community lies on the hands of the men. I mean, if men want to claim that they're head, if they want to claim that they're leader, they can't just say it. They have to bear the responsibility of it as well. Um, and no, it's not about tearing the black man down. So this is not, like I said, about tearing the black man down. But what I'm hoping is that the black man sees this as an opportunity to be the man our ancestors and forefathers were stripped of being. So they were stripped of being that man in slavery. When they were, even if we came off of a boat or we were already here as Native Americans, either or, they were stripped of it. But you have a chance in 2021. Even though there's some resistance still from white America, you still have a better chance of being a man than the black man did 100 years ago. They couldn't protect their wives and daughters and sons. They couldn't show their sons how to be men, but you can. You can, black man. And black man, do not discourage other black men that choose to take care of his wife and family. Do not call him a simp or that he is being played. Don't do that. I see that a lot. I want to make an episode about that. Does the black man call being a gentleman a simp? You know? So treating a black woman with respect and well, is that called being a simpleton? I challenge the black man on that. You know, there's nothing wrong with having respect for a black woman, because I think, as the black woman would get conditioned to understand that more black men would respect her, she can learn how to respect black men in the way that they need to be respected. Furthermore, how can some black men give the excuse that black women just want to wear the pants, but in reality, that is just an excuse of placing all the mishap on the shoulders of the black woman, yet expecting for them to remain ladies, relieving you of your duties as a man, yet expect all the rights and privileges of a man. Lastly, I ask the black man, how can the black woman tell your children positive stories about you if there is none to tell? I think that's another thing that's unfair, especially within our communities. A lot of times a lot of black men are saying that the black women are scorned, they're bitter, and they're telling the children that they're telling them bad stories, poisoning their minds against their father. Some of this is true, but I encourage and challenge the black man, and I have a question for him. How can the black woman teach your child that you're great, that you're a great man, that you're a hero, and all these things, and that you're brave and strong, if the black woman does not feel this way about you herself? So how is she going to teach your children that you're great, that you're strong, that you're a king, that you're a leader, if she does not feel this way herself? You can ask her to lie about it. You can ask her to just make up something just to tell the children. But let's look at the reality of how hard that has come to be, with looking at the track record of what's going on with the condition between the black woman and her child and the black man himself. Okay? Number two, how can the black woman stop asking for public assistance, which exposes you to the child support system, if you don't feed your kids? We have a lot of black men that are saying that, she's running to child support, and some of them do it out of bitter and spite. Yes, but let's not dawdle away from the reality that some black women are left hungry with those children. Okay, and it's hard to get to work when you have little infants if you don't have the family support. You go So this is kind of going back to kind of like the Willie Lynch of the black woman asking the slave master how to eat and when to eat, when she's supposed to be asking, the black man. And yes, the black man can say that back in the 1950s and 60s, they took the black man out of the house. But we're talking about 2021. We know that. We know the tactics. We know the trickology. We know the methods by now. We're masters at knowing what happened. But what about now, though? What about now you being in the house to feed your child so she doesn't have to put the system in any of your business? Okay? Number three, how can the black woman stop acting so aggressive if she feels as if when she walks through neighborhoods where predominantly black men reside, that she will be verbally or physically attacked? And that goes for the black children as well, being shot by stray bullets and guns and whatnot. With the black man being outside, sometimes he should be the neighborhood watch. There should be no way that the black woman or a child should walk through the neighborhoods of predominantly black male, cohabited neighborhoods where black men reside, and they feel so unsafe. They feel like they're going to be disrespected. They feel like they're going to be catcalled, or they're going to be pulled into an alley and sexually assaulted, or any of that. The black man should be the neighborhood watch for his own communities. And the black man is the number one player in the game that says, hey, I don't want so many white men, so many white cops policing the community. Well, if the black man takes accountability and responsibility for his own communities, there could be a decrease in the white cops coming in the black communities, because the black man won't be verbalizing, but he'll be showing that he has control over his own environment. Okay? Number four, how can the black man brazenly exclaim how black women keep choosing the wrong man? So you hear that a lot. Every time a black woman says, hey, what's going on with the condition of the black man? Okay? You'll hear a black man give a rebuttal and say, hey, you chose the wrong black man. Yet, not many black fathers are making sure the wrong man doesn't choose his daughter. So where are the fathers at to make sure that their daughter isn't getting conned out of being a player? It's ultimately the female's choice, but it would be a lot more help if we had more black fathers that had values in their black daughters to make sure that they're not being swindled. Okay? Number five, how long will the black man demand respect from black women and the world itself without taking full responsibility of his environment, surroundings, women, and children, without blaming another race of man for his current problems? Furthermore, how are black women as a whole supposed to respect the black man when his back is pressed upon a wall, uses another race of man for all of his faults and failures? When is the black man going to stop calling the black woman bitter every time she comes to him with a problem that needs a resolution? After all, what other man should she go to? Dearest black man, you know why the black children and women are out of control. It's because you are out of control. Look, that pretty much wraps up this segment. I appreciate everyone for listening. If something I said resonated with you, please hit the like button. Please share to others to spread the knowledge. If you would like if you would like a notification when more content becomes available, please hit the notification button. If you have a question or if you have any suggestions, you can contact me at thetruthwithtrinity.com. You can also listen to my podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Anchor. And always remember, if you can't tell the truth with anyone else, you can with Trinity. Till next time, take care.